want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Here's Johnny.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfuckers.
We in the killing Nazi business. Cousin, business is boom.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Six Pack and a Movie. This is your host, Cornelius, with your host as well, Code I. What's up, Code I?
Hey, what's going on, Corey?
Oh, you know, fucking chilling. What about you, brother?
I'm not living the dream, right?
Yeah, I'm trying really hard not to say that. 'Cause I'm definitely not living the dream.
I think every episode I listened to, you were doing that. And then on half of them, you were saying, I'm trying to not say living the dream.
Yeah.
So.
And then immediately after that, living the dream.
I was thinking about that when you did, too. I was like, all right, people that say they're living the dream are not living the dream, or they're, like, absurdly rich, like billionaires. So,
well, that's why I say it. I just want to keep people guessing. Like, what the fuck is this guy up to?
What is Corey's financial status? Has he got the B yet?
Yeah. I'm getting there, bro. So, today we're doing the movie Truman Show. I feel like most people have seen this, right? It's like a super popular.
No.
You don't think so?
I'm going to go with no, yeah. I don't think most people have seen this.
This was, what year was this? Like 98?
98, yeah.
Yeah.
Pulled up on IMDb, had to check it out, yeah.
Something I noticed about this movie is fucking Jim Carrey, dude. Acting range of a motherfucker.
Yeah, this is one of his big movies, I think, that it was like one of his serious roles from like the Ace Ventura days and like the whatever silly comedies he did. Probably The Mask, I think, was around the same time too. So yeah, this is like a big move for him, I think, to become like, holy shit, like Jim Carrey's like the real deal. Not just some like goofy guy on comedy, SNL, TV or whatever.
He was a very physical comedy actor, so that's why you see it. Like when you think Jim Carrey's comedic movies, it's like fucking him going crazy, you know. And then a movie like this, it just really shows off his range. It like reminds me of Bryan Cranston from Malcolm in the Middle to Breaking Bad. It's like that kind of difference.
I'm guessing I assume this is before Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but pretty close around the same time. And then
this is like 6 years.
Not as well known, but like 23 was also kind of in the mid 2000s, so maybe a couple years later or several years later. But yeah, I think this was the movie maybe to kick his career into a different direction. Yeah,
for sure. Not a lot of people like 23. I liked it when it came out, but
I liked it. I do like that movie.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. And then Eternal Sunshine was, I'd say, at least 6 years after Truman. But yeah, that has like a giant cult following. It's not like super popular, but it's got like pop culture.
Yeah, 6 years, 2004.
Really? Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It also reminds me, like, if you guys haven't seen Will Ferrell, he's very like comedic, and I'd say he reminds me of Jim Carrey's style a bit. A little turned down version of Jim Carrey. And then he made a movie like Stranger Than Fiction, where he's like a super serious actor. It's fucking great.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
No, is that the one with the apple, right? His voice, or he's living the life of a book character?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Harold Crick. Yeah, that's a good movie. Before we get too much more into the Truman Show, let's do the intro to the podcast that we did last time, what movie do you recommend everybody seeing, Cody?
Oh, God, what movie do I recommend? If I can be lazy, because I didn't think about anything, Kill Bill 1 and 2 are on Netflix right now.
Okay. You're a big Tarantino dude, right?
I like Tarantino a lot, yeah. And they're not for everyone, but they're the Kill Bill movies are over the top, like parodies maybe of other movies. And that one's really cool because he recreates a lot of shots that are like famous shots from different movies. Like some of them like almost look shot for shot. So you can actually look like there's a YouTube videos doing like side by side comparisons of the shots he recreated for those movies. And it's a really cool like revenge story with a badass female lead, which doesn't happen too often, I guess, right?
Right.
There's not too many movies that have someone as badass as Uma Thurman in that.
You know, she won like sexiest woman of the year when that movie came out. I do not see it. I don't get it.
She's got an interesting look, but I think she's attractive.
She's not ugly. She's not ugly, but I've never been alive in a decade where she's hotter than all the other women. So definitely have a bone to pick with whoever voted that. But keep doing you, Uma. Yeah. Keep doing you, baby. For me, obviously, well, I just saw Black Panther. Have you seen that, by the way?
No, I plan on it, but I knew it was going to be a huge release, and I don't like seeing stuff if I don't have to on opening weekend.
Oh, I saw opening night, and yeah, it was almost too big. I got really shitty seats, but I definitely recommend everybody taking a look at that. I think that would be like, I really hope they make that into a video game, because you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about when you see the movie, but it'd be fucking super sweet to see those mechanics in a game. Another movie, kind of in the same realm of Kill Bill. It's like very highly choreographed movie. It would be The Raid, Redemption, and then The Raid 2. Very like just martial art movies, but beautiful choreography. It's fucking sweet. So you guys should check it out. It's a lot like Judge Dredd with karate, basically.
I like Judge Dredd. Dredd 3D. That was a dope movie.
Dredd was fucking sweet. When they
I think I saw that in 3D. Yeah,
did you?
I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah.
When they did that,
I wasn't interested in it.
The drug, and then, well, I guess spoilers for Dredd, but you should watch that anyways. But it's not a massive spoiler. When they would do the drug and then slow time down for somebody and then kick them off the building, that was fucking ingenious. Like, could you imagine that? That was seeing your own fucking death.
And you're experiencing it for who knows how long what the time multiplier was, but
fucking
holy shit,
long enough. Do you think 3D movies are dead? Because I remember when I was a kid, I went to see Shark Boy and Lava Girl 3D, and for some reason I thought, like, this is the apex of technology. I will die this year, and it's gonna be fine. And I was like 12 years old. I hadn't even seen a human breast yet.
I don't know. I never saw that, but
what, Shark Boy?
I think we're maybe gonna have like. It needs to find its proper format, I guess, and that might not be at the home. I think a lot of the TV manufacturers are abandoning. They're abandoning 3D formats. It seemed like for a bit every TV had 3D for a moment. Avatar is coming out with 3 movies now. 3 movies, I think 4, maybe 4 sequels are coming out of Avatar. They've all been finished. It's either
bullshit.
3 or 4. So Avatar was the one I think that really made 3D like, holy shit, look what you can do with it.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that will be like pushing the technological bar on what can be done higher. So we might see like a new wave of 3D. Plus, I mean, Avatar came out in like 2009 or something like that.
Yeah, it was 2009, yeah. Because I saw it when I was in college. But
yeah, so
after
that's almost 10 years ago.
Right.
It's crazy
right.
about that.
And it's still amazing looking. Like they were cutting edge.
And you can talk shit about the story, but I mean, like the world that created, and if you haven't seen that 3D, holy shit, man, it's a real experience to check out. You got to see that 3D in the theater, and if these next ones do come out, don't miss out on that.
It's going to be hard for anybody to see it 3D now, because like you said, I mean, I don't know anybody with a 3D TV anymore. It was like a gimmick. Like on Black Friday, you'd see them all over the place, but now you fucking never see them. I think.
The sequels, if they come out, take the time to go see those in 3D.
Yeah, you'll regret it. I saw the first one in theaters, I think 3 times.
I watched the original, and then they did a special edition version of it that they re-released in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw it with Michael, like, on a whim. Like, this show started in, like, 3 minutes. And we said, hey, do you want to see Avatar? Because I kind of want to see Avatar right now. And it had, like, maybe like 5 minutes extra footage. It didn't add anything to it, but I got to see Avatar in 3D again, so that was worth it just on itself.
You saw it release the day it released, or the original release in 3D, or did you see it regular?
I saw the original in 3D, and then I saw it again, which was a special edition version that was
Yeah.
released in the theaters as well.
Yeah, I saw that too. That was like within the 5-year span though. That wasn't recent, was it?
That was within a year, yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. I think right after Avatar came out, you and I were living in Bowling Green, Ohio, and that was like the golden age of 3D movies. Like
Everything was 3D.
every single movie had a 3D option. And some of them are cool, but they would remaster these movies that were never meant to be 3D, like Lion King, fucking Little Mermaid, and they just did that.
I saw Jurassic
shtick.
Park in 3D.
How was that?
It wasn't terrible looking, actually. So I think they put a lot of effort into making it look as good as it could. And it's a different style of 3D where you actually cut out like the movie and like make layers of it, like you would like a pop-up book maybe.
Yeah.
Instead of filming it, yeah.
It'd be a pain in the ass. So what beer are you drinking tonight, Koda?
Got a couple beers. Crack this one right here though.
That sounded
Crisp.
That sounded legit, dude.
Sounds sexy.
Fucking Coca-Cola might steal that from us, so.
This is
Keep an
a
eye.
wood-aged Bitches Brew. I had Bitches Brew several years ago, named after a Miles Davis album, I believe. This is I don't know if this is any different than the one I had before, but actually it doesn't say anything on it. From what I remember, it was like an oak age or like a honey aged stout. So
Yeah.
doing a pour here, real dark color. Got a nice like a brown sort of like a light wood head on it. 9% alcohol. It's Dogfish Head Brewing. I think they're out of I want to say Delaware.
Dogfish Headers? They're fucking.
It
they're
might be New
big.
Jersey actually. I think I actually answered a trivia question and I thought it was Delaware, but it's actually no, it is Delaware.
They're out of Delaware.
Milton, Delaware, yeah. The old river state.
The state of wooden pencils. I believe Delaware was where they created the first wooden pencil.
I'm not going to question on that because I'm not familiar enough with pencil history.
Yeah, I imagine you wouldn't be. That's why I totally got away with the lie right there. So, let me see. That you made your beer sound really dope. What I got right here is a 2018 PBR. No, I'm drinking Ballast Point Sculpin. I actually thought I grabbed the Habanero Sculpin, but
You got the regular.
I accidentally grabbed the regular, but it's
still a good
it's
beer.
delicious.
Still a good beer.
Yeah, I'm rocking a couple Sculpins tonight, so
The
definitely.
habanero's hot. The grapefruit's pretty good. Sometimes a little bit too grapefruit.
I'm rocking
That's a good beer.
the pineapple tonight. Haven't had it.
I've only had that once, but
I'm not a big pineapple fan.
it's just got a maybe like a slight chocolatey flavor. I'm not really getting oak. It's got a pretty light body actually.
Yeah.
For being 9% alcohol, it tastes pretty thin.
This is
a lot of
7%.
A lot of the Jackie O's beers I drink, they almost like look like syrup sometimes when you're pouring like the last few drops.
Yeah.
They're so thick, but it's got a light mouthfeel.
Have you heard of Identity Crisis IPA?
Yes.
Okay. I had.
Is that Evil Twin?
Yeah. I had 2 of those this week, and I
Or no, that's a Mad Tree, isn't it?
it might be. I thought it was Evil Twin. Evil Twin sounded right, but it's Identity Crisis is an IPA, and it's like so stouty and smoky. I thought I was like being smooth. I like talked to the cute bartender. I'm like, well, I am just not convinced this is an IPA. Like I was trying to be cute, and she's like, well, it is, you fucking asshole. Like,
Were you at or what's the place called in Alexandria?
Alexandria's, yeah. That's probably
That's a
it's a good
cool
bar.
place. I really like that they open up the top part of that.
Oh, they open up even a top layer on top of that.
No shit.
Yep, we have a. It's It's like the only place in town that even competes with Columbus bars. Like a very wooden tap house with some bomb-ass greasy food. But that is...
I'll have to check out the top floor.
Yeah, it's where you party, bro. And you don't party.
My name is Rick, and I like to party.
Yeah, we know for a fact you don't party. All right,
My name is Kevin, and I party.
Kevin, I party. All right, let's get into the Truman Show. This show is... We're going to give you a little intro on what the movie is about. A beautiful young Jim Carrey is essentially observed for a television show for the world to see. But the interesting twist is he has no clue. Those were all real sound effects by a soundboard that I just downloaded.
Wow. Yep.
But
He's 30 years old in his entire life from his being in the womb. He's been filmed.
yeah,
So every moment's been captured. And he's basically on like I picked up like a Put in Bay type island or like a Kelly's Island.
yeah,
Like a small in
seaside.
the middle of like a lake or some sort of seaside. There is a road that looks like it leads off the island. But it's surrounded at least almost entirely by water.
Well, and
Yeah, but
it's within a dome too.
yeah, it's within dome. But from his perspective,
Just water.
Water all over the place.
And you wouldn't be able to tell it's a dome because they fucking paint it and shit. But, I mean, they do a very good job at, like, hiding that it's the outside world. And that's kind of what the movie kind of shows you, like, the depths they go to make sure that Truman never has any fucking clue.
yeah. So if we do like a full rundown, like this movie goes over him living his life, and then we start to see the cracks of the facade. Is that the proper word? Or like the illusion
Yeah.
breaking away, and as he starts to figure it out and eventually comes to realize that everything's fake, and it's him deciding to abandon his life and enter into this real world that he's never known.
Which, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like they took a whimsical, funny, like, cute approach to the movie. There's definitely some tense times within this movie.
This is a deep movie, yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing I thought was...
Go ahead.
What I thought was really cool is because this is 98, and they talked about how they're tired of actors portraying fake emotions. And we had reality TV this time, but it was, I think, basically Real World and Road Rules was the only reality TV show. But this predates Survivor, which was in 2000, which from what I remember was like the big kickoff of reality TV. Like it was Survivor and then Big Brother. And then I think like The Bachelor and then just reality TV exploded after this point. So this is almost like a future telling of like that. Like I don't know if they predicted it, but they're like, this is what direction things are going to go. And Big Brother kind of like the same thing where, I mean, they lived in a house, but everything was shot. So I thought that was pretty interesting that this was before the real life happened.
Well, so this movie, the writer or director, Peter Weir, I believe his name is, he said he was never influenced by external sources, but there are 2 Twilight Zone episodes that are like this, and then a feature film that is also about a woman that's being broadcast and she's unaware of it. So this is an idea that's happened before, but I don't think they've really delved into it this much.
He's a liar, yeah. But yeah, this is a deep movie. It's got more to the surface more underneath the surface than what you expect.
Yeah, I think it would have been really fun, like, writing this movie, trying to figure out what would be going through everybody's heads. You know, one thing I've noticed, though, the first thing I wrote down is this is the most expensive project ever. Like, I don't even think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have you almost have to, like, adopt a town and it would have to be a normal functioning town, but with everyone with the agreement of, hey, this is a show as well, and your job is to not acknowledge that it's a show and to keep the illusion up that to Truman that is a show. So, and that almost gets broken like right at the very beginning. Like I think the very first scene is him out on his way to work. We see the dog jump on him. He says his opening line of "Good afternoon, good evening, good night," and then a light falls from the dome. Like I imagine, like, you know, the dome might be like a mile up or a half mile up, or for all I know, but a dome or a light falls from the top and like shatters onto the floor or onto the street, and he looks at it and he's like, where the hell, you know, did this come from? So
yeah, it just shows you, like, because they said throughout they have 5,000 cameras on that island, which they said it was a lot of cameras. I'd imagine there was way more, you know, but
yeah.
But you have to think of it this way, like, they're making money off product placements, which we'll get into that, because that's, like, one of the coolest aspects of this movie. It just showed you, like, how hard they push shit like this. But everybody that's in the movie, a good chunk of those people are playing roles that aren't real. Like, they're not necessary. So how the fuck are they making money? Like, everybody in Truman's office, are they just being paid directly by the show?
It's why. So there's something we'll get into later, but I think the town is partially real, and that some people are living real lives, and maybe you get like a reduced cost of living or something, or you get some sort of subsidy.
Yeah, I was thinking
with the agreement.
Yeah. Just don't fuck it up, and we make your rent $200. Like they just bought all the houses or something.
Yeah. So if you want to get into it, I mean, so the light falls from the sky, and then as soon as he's driving, we kind of see like the links that they do, because he's listening to the radio that the production does, and so he's listening to the radio, and they talk about how an airplane started dropping parts from the sky. So that's like an immediate cover up of, hey, you saw something, but here's an explanation for that, because, you know, here's what we have the option or ability to do, because they control everything in the city. And
it was so instant too.
Yeah, like, and then we get our first product placement after he buys a magazine right after that. And yeah, this is like a running sort of gag of the show. But it's pretty important though, but he gets pushed up against like a sign for some sort of chicken.
Yeah.
By these twin brothers, and he's talking about trying to sell them insurance.
And it's always like a perfect angle.
Yeah, it's like a perfect angle. It's like, hey, get the shot of Truman beside the chicken ad.
Well, before that, something I noticed, like you said, when he was driving in the car and they were covering up the whole light falling from the dome, this was the first time we saw them instilling fear into Truman. Keep in mind, Truman is 30 fucking years old, and they still constantly beat this into his head. I mean, we see him.
And he's never left the island.
Yeah, because there's a good fucking reason. They're like, this is a reminder not to fly. It is very dangerous. Like,
I was thinking about this too, because like, so they control every aspect of his life. You could almost create a person that you wanted, because we're supposed to be like a collection of our experiences, and those experiences, you know, affect our emotions, how we look at, make decisions. So if you control every experience a person has, it's almost like the perfect Manchurian candidate, right?
Yeah.
Or you just completely control, or you could almost like pick and choose what a person should feel in the future by doing these things to him. And yeah, and fear is like a big driving factor of him. And yeah, I guess fear of flying, and then fear of water, as we'll later find out.
Well, they eliminated the two forms of travel, and there's the only roads leaving the town are over water. So you'll find that out later too. But what you and I are kind of like on the same thought process with the whole Truman thing. But what I thought, yeah, they could have used it to morph him into like the perfect political dude, or maybe even after the Truman Show, they could have thrown like another baby in there, morphed him into a politician or something. But what they could have done is they could have totally made weird fucking things. Like, like you don't even reproduce with women. You just like use a vending machine to buy babies. Like, they could have made the weirdest shit and just studied how he reacted to it. But they just kept it so... Yeah. I guess... I mean, it makes sense they didn't, but that would have been fun to see. Like, just weird shit that they could have fucked with him.
You'd accept it as the norm, yeah.
He wouldn't know better, yeah.
So yeah, we on his way to work, we find out he works at he sells insurance, right?
Yeah, he has the worst fucking job ever.
And he is ripping out, or he's asking about Lauren. Is it Lauren? Yeah, Lauren.
Sylvia.
Yeah, he's asking
Silva.
about Lauren and Fiji.
Sylvia.
Or Sylvia. Garland, right?
Yeah,
What is it? Yeah,
I think
Garland,
so.
Yeah, he's talking about her in Fiji, and he's ripping out a magazine that he bought earlier that day. He's ripping out the eyes on it and I think he puts it in his pocket or something like that.
Yeah.
And we get to that later, and then I think at that point, they tell me he needs to go on a trip, and or he needs to take a 30-minute ferry ride across the island to meet a customer or something like that. And then he gets to the ferry right after it, and this is when we find out about his fear of water, and he can't get on the ferry.
Like how strong
buys a
it
ticket.
is, yeah.
He's at it, and then he sees a sunken boat.
He
sees a sunken boat at the dock, and he looks at it, and he freaks out.
He has post-traumatic stress associated with water.
Yeah, he can't look at the boat, and he can't go near the water, which has got to suck if you live on an island, right?
Yeah, they eliminated his 2 forms of freedom. It was genius.
And then so he leaves that, and then he comes home, and if we get a nice ass shot of him.
Yeah.
He's guarding, and it's this, it's a 30-second ass shot or something there a minute.
I thought that
and then
too.
we get our big product placement where his wife has a peeler. It's a peeler, a dicer, a grater, something they got all in one. And then I think right after that is there's a beer ad too, and his buddy Marlon. He has beer with. I think he always shows up with beer. Always. I don't think he doesn't have beer in the entire movie whenever he shows up, and I think that's his intro or his excuse to show up whenever they want him to be in the show or to help drive something. He shows up with beer, and he's like, "Hey man, I got a beer. Let's go."
Surprise party. Yeah. And that would work for me. Fucking.
Yeah, because
if I'm having a mental breakdown, show up with a 6-pack and we're good. If I'm about to kill somebody.
Fuck it, yeah. Because he's talking about this Fiji thing, and then they go out to the bridge and they're golfing. He's like, "I'm gonna go to Fiji because it's the furthest point you can get away from here without coming back." And
plus, that's where what's her face said she was going.
Yeah, her father said, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so she wasn't in.
But yeah, we'll get to that later. Yeah. So, but then right after that, I think we go to the beach, and this is when we figure out what the water is, and he was on the rowboat with his dad or sailboat, and a storm came, and his father drowned, and that when he was a child, and his mother actually blames him for it, but she says I don't blame you for it, even though it was kind of your fault because you wanted to stay out longer. Pretty cunning move,
right?
But this is the main driving factor of keeping him on the island, and it's pretty terrific. I mean, put someone on an island and make them fucking terrified of water. It's
genius. It was the smartest thing they could have done. Yeah, and I wonder if they picked that place just for that or just for the aesthetics of it. Because if they didn't think of the water thing, that's the way to do it. Keep somebody trapped. But like you were saying about his mother, Truman goes through so much fucking abuse, serious.
This movie is
serious
really
abuse.
terrible, honestly.
Yeah, because
the torture, the psychological torture he's been going through,
fear mongering and lack of empathy. I don't blame you for your father. Get the fuck out of here. People, when he expresses direct concern, everybody just brushes it off because they know it's part of the show.
And the fact that all of his relationships are fake.
Which, can you imagine post-show, if he ever does escape that world, what kind of shit, what kind of trust issues he'll have?
Oh my God, it'd be paranoia, because you'd be it almost be layers of, did I get out? You ever have a dream where you woke up and you're oh, that was a terrible dream, and you realize you're in another level of dream, you dreamed you woke up from your dream.
Yeah, actually,
dude,
I'm gonna
terrifying.
At the very end of it, I'll get into something like what you said. It's a fan theory, but we'll talk about that towards the end.
So then when he's on the beach, though, it starts raining on him only, which I thought this is pretty cool because it rains. I think it malfunctioned. It's raining like kind of like a comedy style where the rain is just on him. And he's like walking and the rain is following him kind of like lazily because it can't keep up with him walking.
Yeah.
And I feel like this probably wasn't the first time it happened to him. But if you spent your entire life in a controlled environment, it's probably not the first time it's happened to him, right? So he could accept that as normal.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, so say that happened to him when he was a kid, when their technology was shittier. And he's like, so how come when rain starts, it hits me directly? His science teacher could have been like, well, actually, rain is attracted to what's touching the ground and living in that area. Like, you
could make shit up and
I would have said
you would accept it because
yes.
You wouldn't imagine someone could control the rain. So then eventually the rain all comes down all around him. But yeah, like it probably wasn't the first time, and it wouldn't be too outlandish to think that that would be a norm for him. And this is pre-internet too, so think about that.
Yeah,
like, this is before you could Google like, oh fucking, what's rain?
I
think there was internet, there was Google in '98, but they probably had no internet on the island, honestly.
Well, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't want they wouldn't want him looking up anything.
Yeah, that would have been something totally harder to control, I feel. Unless they had it on a closed network or something.
So then he comes home after this and he's talking about the Fiji vacation with his wife. And I think this is pretty nuts because they're supposed to be, they're promoting this whole baby. They want to have the first conception on TV. And how like weird it would be for her to be in this fake relationship and having a kid with this guy. Honestly, like, real trooper on her part because she's living with this dude.
Fuck her.
It doesn't seem like she's actually into him all though.
At all.
So this is like, he has this entire fake wife, and he's supposed to have a baby with her. Pretty fucked up.
Yeah, and we never ever see her show true compassion. It's always fake smiles, dead looks, and product placement. Like,
honestly, I feel like she wanted to fuck Marlon.
Yeah, actually,
I feel like she had a little thing for him.
Yeah, because she could connect with him better. He was in on the fucking show. He knew what she was going through. So
like when they punch out for the day and they go on a lunch break, she's like, "Holy shit, you won't believe what fucking Truman did!" Like,
yeah, he's like, "Dude, fucking Truman, man. I've known that guy since we were 7.
Fucking guy tried to lick my feet today. What motherfucker?
He's been trying to lick my feet forever." But like even when they're at the high school and they leave Truman from studying, like they leave together. So I definitely see what you're getting at there. I read somewhere that the original script of this movie, Truman's best friend and Truman's love interest signed up for a sequel to have a baby, and that is a sequel to the Truman Show. So you might be onto something there. So
their baby was the second Truman.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be fucked up. But honestly, if they're living in a fucked up world and they're okay with it, they're probably okay with having their baby recorded its entire life and being Truman too.
Well, plus that's their fucking income, so they might as well.
Yeah.
And if they actually dig each other, maybe that would have made for even better television because they would have actually wanted to fuck.
That'd be like a weird, like, breaking the fourth wall sort of thing going on too.
Yeah. Well, you have to be a real shitty person to partake in the Truman Show and not show any empathy or sadness. Because those two people, his wife and his best friend, none of them cared. They were 100% on board with the Truman Show because they're
fake as fuck.
They're fake as fuck. They were raised into it. Like they were into that shit from day one, probably. But then, like people,
I would say.
Other people do show sadness and remorse for Truman, even being involved.
Yeah, we get a couple glimpses of that. But yeah, I think honestly the acting in this movie is incredible too, because you have these actors playing fake friends to Jim Carrey as this is going on, and like it's like I think everyone like really kills their roles here, because I feel like acting like you're a bad actor is probably difficult.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
Like when you have to act, but then you're being a bad actor at the same time.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Just observe what Adam Sandler does nowadays. Just Adam Sandler's newest movies. I bet that's what they did.
This is
But
probably exactly like tone it back a little bit.
yeah, slow it down. Jesus Christ. Don't go Jack and Jill on this. But
You did all these great movies. Let's not do those good ones.
But yeah, I mean, it'd just be. I imagine that they're just so close to the project that they don't even feel anything anymore.
Yeah, and then after this, we get the first during this like same scene where they're talking about the baby and the relationship. We get the first time that we see the audience watching the television show. And we get like a couple different shots. There's like a guy in a bathtub. There's like a couple guys that run like a parking garage, I think, and then there's like a restaurant, some old ladies. So we kind of get like a glimpse of some of these characters, like who's watching this show.
Which it's everybody. Everybody's watching.
Yeah, we later find out it is the entire world. So then, like, we got the next day, and he comes across his dad, who we just learned had died in the boating accident.
Right.
And he like walks past him, and he looks like a hobo. He's real beat up looking, and we see like the control of the city and how fucked up it is. And how like marathon runners come through, like a dog gets loose, and then, like I think like an old couple grab him and like pull him away and like throw him on a bus, and the bus like immediately drives away.
And we later find out that he actually did break into set. Like he wasn't like an extra that they reused. That was a fucking infiltration. That
It was
they
a real
saw.
dude, yeah.
Yeah. Which is another problem that they have to work on, like keeping this whole world quiet. So you see it like the constant fuck ups. Well, I guess honestly they fuck up a lot less than you'd imagine with how many people are there.
Yeah, for running an entire like fake, I guess 50% fake city. It's fucked up, yeah.
Do you think some of the people working there? You said you think they actually make money and shit.
Well, all right, so yeah, where was I at here? Oh yeah, so after he sees his father and he talks to his mom, and his mom, that's when she blames him for the drowning.
Yeah.
Then he goes to the basement and he's looking at a picture of his dad. But then, there's also a mower ad. His wife tells him to get rid of the old mower and to buy like one of the brand new ones. But then we see a flashback to Lauren, who's I can't remember. She's not like an actress that I know.
No, I've never.
She was in Californication, I think.
Yeah.
But we see a flashback to her, and we see like he sees her at one point. I think like when he's in band in college, and we see like the forced relationship that the show puts on. And like his wife runs into him. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I fell on you," which is so weird because so you think about she's been like living with this guy and fucking this dude and pretending to be his wife for a long time. And I guess you got to do it for the paycheck, but man.
Well, she says at the beginning, the very first 5 minutes of the movie, she says, Truman Show isn't a job. It is a life. It's a lifestyle. So she's fully thrown herself into this craft.
It'd be rough for her to do that. So then they're dancing, and I think you kind of realize like the amount of fake friends. And it's just, I guess every aspect is controlled, and it's a little bit sad thinking that like the emotions he has with these people and the relationships are all just, it's just not real. So then he sees Lauren though at the dance, and then she gets taken out from the dance. So she's not supposed to be there. But so then they're in the study, and his wife and his friend leave to get drinks, and he sees her, and he asks her if she wants to go out sometime. She says now. So she's in the school. She's already been a slight issue before, and so this is why I think that she's probably actually doing real schooling.
She's actually going.
Although
to
I don't
school.
know, maybe not though.
Well,
because she doesn't know what konnichiwa means, and she's supposed to be studying Japanese. But I kind of had the idea that she was actually attending a real school, because you wouldn't be able to pay everyone a actor's wage to keep the city running, right?
That's what I was thinking.
So
yeah,
if people are doing like real jobs here, like say you did something like this in our hometown, where just people are living their lives, but you just agree to it. So that's why I thought that like half of it's real and half of it's fake.
Yeah.
Everyone's agreeing not to give up the lie, but
Well, and they have to be incentivized somehow. Like you
you can
said,
have a real business.
like you said, maybe cheaper healthcare or cheaper housing would be the smartest thing. I feel, especially
You wouldn't be able to do it. You wouldn't be able to do a fake school. You know, you'd have to have real kids going to school.
well, they'd just be child actors, and then
All child actors.
homeschooling.
They pretend to go to
home.
school for 6 hours or whatever it is that you go to school, and then they go to real school after that. Like,
Oh, duh.
sounds like the worst.
That fucking
Double school.
suck. Yeah. Well, the only argument I have to them being in an actual school is the teachers overshooting actual knowledge to keep Truman ignorant. You know, like
Ignorant, yeah.
I don't know why I just fucking adopted like a sports center commentator to keep Truman ignorant.
What he's got to do is he's got to stay ignorant. He's got to ignore the facts and just be kind of oblivious to what he's looking at.
Now, Cody, I don't think these kids could have learned. I don't really do. But you know what I'm saying?
Do they have the capabilities to learn?
But they, like, the things that they would teach Truman. Like, we were talking, Truman in one scene says, I would like to be an explorer, like, blah, blah, blah. And she says, well, everything's...
Too late, fucker.
Yeah, everything's already been found, which is a depressing reality.
A bit real. A bit real. You gotta be harder to be a Magellan nowadays.
Yeah, well, you can't really explore shit.
Also, when he's studying in this library and he's talking to Lauren and she's like, "Let's go on a date now." She like leans in and we kind of see the shot of her eyes. Those are the eyes, and we realize that the magazine eyes that he ripped out and is trying to put on this face. He's making like a face. It's her eyes, so he's trying to recreate her face.
Yeah.
So then they go on the beach and she's like, "My name's not Lauren, it's Sylvia. Everything's fake." And she's like, "You're on TV, I think." And she's trying to explain it to him. And then the dad comes up. And honestly, he really kills it. Because he's like, she's crazy. She brings all of her boyfriends here. This is what she does to everyone.
Yeah.
Don't listen to her. And at this point, honestly, like, as like an audience, we're watching. We're like, no, like, you should believe her. But if this is real life, that would be the reasonable explanation, right? Like, this is a crazy girl.
Especially with him not making that big of a connection and him, like, we don't know his dating past. So he could be like, okay, this is a beautiful girl. Oh, she's crazy. He has no reason not to believe that. He just met her. Like, it was a
why would you,
perfect alibi.
And imagine if someone told you that everything, that you were on TV and that everything was fake. You would be like, well, you're fucking crazy.
No, I'd be like, I fucking knew it.
Response.
I knew it.
I knew it. I knew it. So that's when they started. They're moving to Fiji, and that's why he wants to go there. And then we find. And she's watching the show. She sees the show because this is all like a flashback scene that they aired, and
she honestly probably was just a local of this town until this happened. Then she had to move.
Yeah, she got kicked out of the town, but she was allowed to live there before. So yeah, like I said, I think she was part of the city, but she was just like an extra living a real life.
Yeah.
And she caused too many problems, so she got kicked out.
And they even noted that, like, she was stealing airtime. So
yeah, she stole a kiss that she
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to have. I guess they let her run with it. It's probably good TV, honestly.
Mm-hmm. They say it's all real and not fabricated, but pretty fucking fabricated. Like, most of it's fabricated. And you know what I find?
Yeah, honestly, yeah,
super
probably
sad?
about as much as like a real reality TV show, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there's writers on reality TV.
The Truman
They
Show.
promote it as being all real.
The Truman Show is just basically the Jersey Shore with one person not knowing they're on the Jersey Shore. That's all it is. Like, just erase the memory of one person, and that's what it is. Just scripted as fuck. But you know what?
It's super depressing from that perspective.
You know what's sad though? Well, it would even be more depressing if he was in like a world of Guidos. But it's sad that
Imagine Truman Show. On
but
the fucking Jersey Shore.
everybody's Guido.
He's just hanging around with fucking douchebags his entire life.
Yeah. Every time he wants to go have a drink, they like fucking fight and try and fuck everything. That's his norm. But nobody truly loves Truman. Like how is that fucking possible? How did his dad? How did his mom? How did none of those people get attached? They live with him.
Yeah. You think that would hit you at one point, but apparently not.
Because he seemed like a cool dude. I'd kick it with Truman.
He seemed cool to me. I'd hang out with him as long as I could.
Yeah, fuck. I'd chill with Truman. And then, so this is probably about the time. I mean, this is what, fast forward a good
after
good amount
this,
of years.
We have the driving scene. No, this is all within the same like small span of days. This all takes place in a couple of days.
Well, not the Sylvia thing. That's what I mean. Like that was a flashback.
Oh, Sylvia was in college. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is. I mean, he's married for, whatever amount of years. He's at his job for a bit. So
we
probably like I don't know, maybe a decade. Who knows?
Right now we see Truman starting to crack. Right, like
his
dad was the cracking point.
His dad was the what was it, like the light the fuse?
Yeah.
I don't know what a better
his dad was
phrase is.
the finger on the start button on the microwave.
Yeah, because he's driving here. Well, maybe this scene though, actually, because he's driving and the radio malfunctions, and then he picks up on the radio frequency of all the people like in the city, and it's talking about what turns he's taking.
Yeah.
So he's doing left on like a Lancaster or something like that.
Shit's
Lightbourne.
Shit's starting to fall apart right now, because this is happening like pretty frequently throughout these days.
Yeah, so the entire city stops at one point when they change the frequency. They all like move their heads because it gives like must have been like the radio feedback between like 1,000 people or whatever
in their earpieces. Yeah,
and all their earpieces. Yeah, because the whole entire like city like stops. Oh, then the paper mentions the homeless, so we get like another look at how they control things, because when he talked to his mom about his dad, like, oh, like it wasn't him. It's like it's probably those homeless people. They need to take care of that. And then the paper says something like, "Please start to take care of the homeless problem." And then at this point, I think
they are
like
the
charade
media.
is up.
It's like instant media connection. Yeah, and then he starts to, like you said, the charade's up. This is when he's
aware something's going on, but for the wrong reason.
He's putting his foot down. Like he's like, there's some shit going on.
We get the leitmotif of him figuring shit out, which we revisit later. The leitmotif, fancy word I learned for a sort of theme for an object or an idea in a movie. And the most recognizable version is Lord of the Rings with the One Ring. It's that one sort of music that goes with it. It's like ba-na, da-na-na-na-na.
Oh, so we had one for this movie?
Whenever we see the ring, yeah, when Truman starts to get the gears turning in his head and figuring shit out, we get like this sort of like theme music. Yeah. And this is like the first idea, and then he
it's very 90s sitcom music.
Yeah, it's like nice and like it's
like pop,
inspiring almost.
Inspiring poppy, but definitely if you heard it in a movie today, you'd be like, this movie was made in the fucking 90s. Like it sounds like 90s.
Because so like he's starting to figure shit out, and then he gets ready to go to work, and then he stops. And he goes in like the spinning door. And he goes in the door, and I think he spins a couple times, and then he leaves the door the same direction. He goes back out the building. He never actually enters the building.
He does a once over, yeah. He goes straight there.
He's changing his routine, and then traffic stops. He's like stopping traffic because all the cars know where he's at, I guess, and they won't hit him. And then he goes into the elevator, and he's not supposed to go in this elevator. And the back of the elevator is actually like a lunch table for the extras. And they're like, oh shit, sir, you can't come in here. Like they like haul him out. I can't remember what the reason is that they haul him out, but because it's pretty funny.
It was like a secure office building that he didn't have an appointment or something.
Oh yeah.
And one girl gets into the elevator that's not there and turns around and tries to play cool, and it did not work. She fucking
freaks out.
It didn't work. Like she just tried to stand there like she's in an elevator, and Truman's like, no, this is not an elevator. He looked right past her.
Yeah. That'd be hard. Like I know I've been in a situation like it before, but see, Mitty goes finds his friend Marlon, and this is when he says he's being followed because of he saw his dad. So his dad, he hasn't seen his dad since he saw him on the street, like the day before. And
did you say you've never been in that situation before? By the way,
I've been in a situation like that where like I couldn't act normal because I was supposed to be lying.
Okay,
it was like it was a surprise party that I was supposed to.
I thought you were assuring us.
I crumbled.
I thought you were assuring everybody. I've never been in a situation where I had to pretend I was in an elevator.
Pretend I was on a real life situation, but it was actually a TV show.
But this is when he like freaks the fuck out, goes hangs out with Merlin, and he's like, "Oh shit!"
And Marlon's like, "Oh,
is it Marlon?
Is everyone
Yeah.
in on it?" And then I think he says something like, no, he doesn't say it. Yeah, but so we go home, and then they're using like photos and like that nostalgia to kind of bring him back down to earth, to drift his mind away from his dad. Like, oh, look at this photo of you growing up. Look at this photo of you at your wedding. Look at all my bridesmaids. I think they're trying to like anchor him back down,
which didn't work.
And then the TV starts talking to him basically, where there's like a TV show and
it's your favorite TV show. Yeah.
It's your favorite TV show, and then like there was like a commercial or like the host says something like sometimes you feel like you need to go do something, but then you realize that home is just really where you need to stay. And so there's like everything is talking to him, and this world is so manufactured. So then he continues to go through the photos though, and he sees his wife crossing her fingers, in their wedding photo, like when they're like their first kiss, she's crossing her fingers, which I guess could be like a cross fingers like I didn't mean what I said, like our vows, or like hope this works.
No, that's exactly what I meant. That's exactly what that meant. Like she crossed her fingers, like it doesn't count. So then,
like the next day.
Don't forget the Mount Rushmore, by the way.
The Mount Rushmore. It looks much smaller than what I expected.
It was the size of like a fucking standard 1-story house behind them. He's like, it's way smaller. She's like, no. Disregard.
So then, yeah, that's good. And then like the next day, his wife's like, hey, like I have to go to work today. I got to do surgery because a woman got her leg crushed by an elevator that crashed or something. Like the back end broke out. So they're trying to explain what he saw in the elevator through his wife now.
Which
he's like, oh yeah, he's like,
that was a ballsy move because that didn't even make fucking sense.
Not a good lie.
Honestly, that was the worst lie yet. That's the one I believe the least.
You made a whole fake fucking city.
yeah, and they had plenty of time to think of a lie. They're like, just say it crashed. No, just say they were fucking holding meetings in a non-working elevator to save money or something.
Or like, hey, like the elevator broke and she was actually going back there to get lunch. How about fucking that?
Yeah, that makes way more sense.
Oh shit!
What's up?
I gotta refuel.
Okay, you do your thing. I'll keep them distracted.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
I got one here, dude. I got one on deck.
Oh, I was gonna sing Creed.
I got Columbus Creeper.
Yeah, I already cracked one open, but I'm gonna fabricate the noise because life's the Truman Show.
Hey, have you had Columbus Creeper? It's your favorite beer.
Hey there, funky party people. Are we having fun? Today we are drinking Pineapple Sculpin by Ballast Point. 7% alcohol. It'll help you finger bang the local ladies.
That'd be a 2018 Tinder commercial on Truman Show.
Yeah.
You want to finger some sexy singles?
Hey, are you sick of not finger banging everybody? Well, you need the Pineapple Sculpin. What are you drinking, Kodai? You said Columbus.
I'm drinking Columbus Creeper. It used to be really hard to get. It's one of my favorite beers. It's probably one of the best local beers, I think, in town. 10% alcohol. It's like a triple IPA. It's fucking dope as shit.
Dope as shit, bro. Hey,
you don't get much better.
Just a side note. I would like to change the movie that I want everybody to watch from Raid the Redemption. Please disregard I even said that and go watch Brigsby Bear. Trust me. Was that on camera or is that just in my earpiece?
I'm gonna cut that out.
No, keep it going. I want burps because that was sexy. But Brigsby Bear.
Ethan just told me about this.
Oh
like an hour
my
ago.
god, dude! I watched this movie. I rented it for 2 nights with my Google Play credit, and I watched that shit 3 times in a row. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. Like,
No shit.
oh, dude, so fucking good. Kyle Mooney from Saturday Night Live is in it, and he fucking kills it. It's hilarious.
I think I know who that is, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, the thing that made me remember is he's like really stupid, and somebody says, "Dude, it'll be dope as shit," and then he adopts that phrase and he says it to like people you shouldn't say it to. Like he's talking to his mom and dad. He's like, "Yeah, that'd be dope as shit." It's super funny. So you didn't tell me what kind of is it? Stouty IPA?
This is a Imperial IPA. I think it's a triple.
Triple.
It's got triple hops, dude. It's got 10% alcohol. It's super good. It's honestly it's super well balanced. It's not too danky. It's not too fruity. It's like a really good Imperial.
Yeah. I need you to brush.
It's got a good bite, but not like the beer doesn't get much better than what this one is for this style.
So when we were at Put in Bay drinking at the there's a little tap house on Put in Bay. If you guys haven't been, it's basically just the Truman Show set. But the guy says don't drink an IPA this bitter before drinking all night if you don't want to taste anything. But I mean, you don't have that problem, do you? I mean, you fucking just dive in.
I could drink anything like back to back. Obviously, I don't try to like. I don't want to go from stouts to IPAs because you can't throw off palate. But I mean, if you're not too drunk, then you can appreciate flavors. So
that's the most beautiful thing anybody's ever said to me.
Yeah, he's get a taste in before you get too drunk because then you'll drink a expensive or rare beer and you won't notice that you're drinking as fast as you are.
Yeah. I can see that. Maybe we should start drinking beer, swishing it, and spitting it. How do you feel about that?
No, it's a waste of beer.
This is now the Swish and Spit podcast. We just, every drink we take, we swish and spit.
Yeah, we just never get drunk.
That's not fun at all.
What's the point?
Yeah, what the fuck's the point? So let's see. Where were we just at before you refueled?
So he's talking to his wife, and she's talking about the elevator surgery.
Oh, yeah.
He follows his wife. He's suspicious at this point.
As fuck.
So he follows his wife on his bicycle. And there's like he follows her to the hospital, and he's at the hospital, and he's trying to like peek in on her, and he's like, I had to talk to my wife. Tell her I'm going to Fiji. And she's like, okay, I'll tell her that. And so this nurse runs away that he tells it to. And then as soon as she like turns around and starts running away, he starts running down too. And there's all these kinds of obstacles that he has to like cross in these halls. There's like a gang of wheelchair guys.
Yeah.
At one point, and
which would be
them,
fucking terrifying. Like that should have been.
And then there's like
that should have been the hint right there.
And then there's a guy with like a large like medical cart or something like that. That's like just blocking him left and right.
A medical what?
There's like just like a cart full of like medical supplies.
Oh yeah.
That's, like as tall as it blocks the entire hallway.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of like shimmying around it as much as he can. He gets blocked multiple times. And eventually he gets to the window, and like the doctor's like, he's here right now. Like he's here right now. And you hear like a little bit of that. Truman doesn't hear that. And so they're pretending to do a surgery. So they went to the extent of faking having a patient, but obviously these aren't trained surgeons. So, and there was never an elevator accident. So he's like, I'm going to make the incision now, and I think like
scalpel,
like
please.
Yeah, there's like a big panic like on the doctor's face and everything. So I thought this was like pretty cool because like you realize like these people aren't trained to do exactly what they're supposed to be doing because they're just actors. Some of them are at least. So,
and you see this pretty frequently too.
Yeah, we see it again a little bit later because
the bus
immediately
driver
goes to the travel agency after this. Yeah, he goes to the travel agency. And there's a sign that says like lightning strikes planes or something like that. Basically, like planes get struck by lightning every fucking day, so don't fly.
And that's the dumbest place to have that sign.
I know, yeah. And then he's like, I want to take a flight to Fiji. And he's like, oh, well, next I could do a month from now. Which I guess like if Truman's never left, a month is not that. Honestly, if I booked a trip in a month, that's kind of like quick. But oh, this is 1990. This is pre 9/11. So fuck. What if I know?
Well, I don't think it's ever been that hard to book a flight. Like, if I have to be somewhere in a different country, I feel like I can get there in 3 days. But to Truman, he doesn't know the difference.
Yeah. And so then he gets on the bus and he's like, fuck it, I'm going to take a bus and just go somewhere. I think he said he wanted to go to Chicago, maybe?
Yeah.
That's what it was?
Yeah.
And there's like a little girl and she's like, oh shit, like that's the guy. Is that the guy? Like, that's the guy. She's like, shut up, bitch.
Yeah, she's like, keep your fucking face forward, you little bitch.
So then Truman's on the bus and he's obviously not supposed to be there. So the bus driver, I'm not sure if he knows how to drive the actual bus, but he grinds the fuck out the gears and like destroys the transmission.
Which actually, this is a.
I think he like breaks the clutch or breaks the transmission.
He grinds the fuck out of it, and there's smoke billowing out of the front of the bus. But
everyone's off the bus, but Truman's still sitting there.
A GMC bus actually has the engine in the back, so that was a little blooper for you guys. A little fun blooper. But my question is, why the fuck were the people on the bus? Did they know?
I think it was make it look legit if that bus ever went by him.
So you mean their entire stand and roll is to sit there?
That's why. So I have some notes later here that I get into, but there's like a touching moment here where everyone's off the bus and the bus driver's get off, and he looks at Truman and he says, "I'm sorry, son," and he doesn't say in a way of like, "Hey, like, sorry everyone, the bus is broke, you're going to get off."
He said it with real compassion.
He says it. He almost
empathy.
Like from our perspective, he said it. Sorry, I know you were trying to get off this island right now, but I'm not allowed to let you leave.
Yeah,
and it was like a bit heartbreaking.
It was a genuine apology that we've never seen from any of Truman's true family and friends. This beautiful this is like black bus driver. This is the first
like
time.
A third world crack.
Yeah.
And or fourth wall crack, I think, in the illusion. And then he's in his driveway and his wife shows up. Yeah, every single wall. And so then his wife shows up from work and she gets in the car and she's like, "You're mad about Fuji or something, or Fiji?" And he's like, "Watch this." He's like, he says something about paper, woman on a bicycle, and then the Volkswagen with the dent fender. And he notices it's a loop, and these people are running on a loop. And this is where I realized that some of these people's jobs on this island are fucking shit. Like the people that ride the bus. Because they're doing the same thing every fucking day. Exactly the same as much as they can.
Same moment.
Because he's noticed this loop.
Yeah.
You know, it probably wasn't just today. He might have noticed it, like, you know, for a year. Like every single day I've noticed when I get home from work or whatever, that a fucking Volkswagen and a woman on a bicycle appear.
Oh, I don't know, man. That's deep. I feel like they would have to switch up the loop. Maybe like Monday, Tuesday, Friday, or something.
Yeah, but still, like, someone's job is to do the same thing enough that he would notice eventually.
So
unless it was like all day thing,
yeah,
maybe all day. Like, oh hey, Fridays is paper bicycle Volkswagen with a dent day. But he noticed it, so even then, if you're doing the same thing all day, every day, unless they're getting your big bucks, man, fuck.
Oh, you mean like working at a $10 an hour factory, Kodai? Is that what you mean? Fuck, I'd rather hold flowers for the Truman Show than work at Whirlpool.
So his wife's in his car, and this is when he's like really picked up on. He's like, something's not right here. And so he's driving in the circle. He gets in a roundabout and he starts driving in it. And he pulls up. He's like, "We're gonna leave. We're just gonna go wherever." And traffic is like backed up. It's gridlock traffic on this small island too. Like, I don't know if you've been to Put in Bay, but there's not enough cars. Or Kelly's Island, if you've never been to Kelly's Island, which is not like a party place. Probably less people on Kelly's Island. There's not gridlock traffic. And so he goes back to the loop. He's like, "All right, we're going home. JK, let's go back down the same fucking street." And all the traffic's gone. He's like, "Oh, look at that. Not a car in sight." Then you realize like the traffic is controlled in the city. Oh yeah, there's also like that shot where all the cars come from the side street onto this street and immediately block it.
Just pour in, which was a bad move. I feel like they could have had all those roads blocked from that point, you know?
Yeah, probably get more cars, but I mean, they probably never experienced anything like that. So if you're not prepared for it,
yeah,
you know, what do you do?
there's just
It'd be a hard thing to prep for.
there's so much resistance to anything Truman does, but the thing is, like, all this shit happens, like you said, within a span of days. So I guess we probably just tune in right when Truman's breaking, like when he's starting to
Right at the edges. Yeah.
get over the illusion. I wonder how many hiccups they had throughout these 30 years.
And say it's either it's all the dad or it's a combination of the dad and the radio. The radio has probably been the biggest thing, because imagine if you're listening to, like, I don't know what you listen to in Finley, but like I listen to CD 1025. It's like rock station. They got the DJ on, and then imagine that scrambled, and I heard like, hey, like he's driving on 315 South. He's taking this exit, fucking 7 to Bethel or whatever. Like, oh, shit, dude. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, that's weird. I'd be on high alert every day from that.
There's a handful of things that would freak me out. That would have definitely been the first one, and then a close number 2 is a ragtag team of wheelchaired men trying to kill me. That's a close second.
So then they try to escape. He tries to escape at this point after he leaves the roundabout the second time. He's like, oh shit, the bridge, I can't go over it. So honestly, a really clever move on his part, because he's already super suspicious. He floors it and tells his wife to take the wheel. So if she doesn't want to die, she's going to steer straight across this bridge. And he floors it. They make it across, and they run into a power plant. Which, like, man, like... first he goes through a wall of fucking fire. Because it says, like, watch out, wildfires. And you hear, like, you get, like, the classic sound effect, like...
Yeah.
It's a wall of fire he drives through. The car is smoking, and then he runs to a power plant. The whole entire road is blocked off, which I imagine this is like the main way that people get on and off the island, like the workers that have like real lives, or say like, hey, I want to take a vacation. You leave. Which also, dude, Truman's wife hasn't had a vacation in 30 years. I guess maybe not 30 years. Whatever, 10 years. 10 years, as long as they've been married.
She hasn't even gotten to leave the island.
Well, his wife, though. She's a real person.
That's what I'm talking about. She hasn't gotten to leave.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's never left. So she's Truman too. Fuck it. Maybe his friend can say like, I'm going to vacation, but if Truman's wife leaves, he's like, who you been fucking for the past 3 days?
Wait, Truman's friend has left. He actually picked up a job where he could go whenever he wanted to.
Oh, he delivers the food to the stores, doesn't he? I thought he worked at that store, but I guess I'm wrong.
No, he's a snack machine vendor, but he mentioned,
good job.
Yeah,
good job.
He mentioned earlier in the show or in the movie that he had a position where he got to travel everywhere, and then he's like, nowhere's as good.
Anything place like Put-in Bay.
Yeah. We're just gonna call it Put-in Bay.
I can't remember what the real name.
Sea Haven, I think.
Sweet Town.
Sea Haven?
Yeah, something like that.
It was filmed in Florida.
Was it? Oh, yeah.
Which is ironic because they spoke about Florida being like some far distant land.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, doing this whole nuclear power plant thing, the cop shows up like, hey, you got to turn around. He's like, oh, thanks for the warning. He's like, you're welcome, Truman. And then he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit, Joe Rogan. And that was like, how the fuck this guy know my name?
How did that guy fuck up that bad?
I know, also, yeah.
Like, your whole,
I guess, like,
all of your training.
I imagine he was probably a person that watched the show. So it's like when we listen to podcasts and we feel like we know the people. Yeah, no problem, Truman.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So he runs into the woods and he gets like tackled and like assaulted, basically.
What's scary is you see Truman like start to lose a grip on reality. Which can you fucking blame him?
It'd be terrifying. There'd be no way to react to that. Imagine everything you thought was going on was what reality was just start shattering around you.
Yeah,
it'd be super scary.
Yeah, no fucking shit. Could you blame him for freaking out?
Yeah. So then he gets home, and there's an ad of cocoa powder or something like that, or it's like chocolate milk or coffee. Some sort of cocoa, and he's like, what? Who the fuck are you talking to right now?
Yeah,
because like the ad was too forced. She didn't make it. She goofed up. His wife did.
Yeah,
by doing this ad at the wrong time. But gotta pay for them. Gotta pay the bills. So Oh fuck! I don't even know what this means.
What's that?
I wrote something down that said, "How do you expect Met?"
How do you expect Met?
I don't know. That is very odd.
But I mean, it shows him like get fucking tackled, take him back home, and at this point, like, do you think it's that nerve is still raw, where it could be still fake to him? Like he could still be having a breakdown.
He's not. I don't know. Oh yeah, so I realized what I wrote down. So she pulls the slicer on that she advertised earlier, the slicer, the dicer, and the peeler.
Yeah.
And he grabs it and like he like she like basically like stabs him or tries to stab him. I mean, but he grabs it and like grabs it and, like holds it up to her and she screams, "Do something!" She's like, "How do you expect me to work or to carry on like this?"
It's unprofessional.
And yeah, it's unprofessional. He's like, "Who are you talking to?"
Who the fuck are you talking to?
Which it'd be really scary for her because imagine if he was like a crazy ass psycho. Which honestly, they're kind of like creating
why
a psycho,
wouldn't he be?
Right?
Yeah,
You're creating the most paranoid person.
You know, Making a Murderer on Netflix was just the Truman Show. They just relabeled the Truman Show to Making a Murderer.
So then what happens here? Oh, fucking Marlon shows up with a 6-pack of brews.
Fucking calms the scene. Roll up to the scene with my seal missing.
Whoa, what's going on, Truman?
Truman,
Let's go hang out by the bridge that hasn't been finished in 30 years.
Truman, it's me,
So
your
they go
boy,
to the bridge.
Marlon.
And so he's using all his memories of like nostalgia to like keep Truman on the island. He's like, "Oh, remember that time in 7th grade when I copied your test? And I was okay, but it was word for word. But I was okay with it because I knew that if I got all the questions wrong, then you got them wrong, and we would go down together," or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to ground him back to, quotations reality of what this island's reality is, Truman's reality is. They're trying to keep him at that level. So
I would love to see a psychologist break down all these attempts to keep Truman back into the lie, like a cult.
Nostalgia is one of the most powerful things, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like we have rose-tinted glasses whenever we look at the past of what something was. That's why, like, sometimes we'll think of like, imagine your thoughts of like Halo 1 or like GoldenEye, which used to be when I play Gold or either of those games. Halo 1 now has aged, but at the time we thought those games were incredible. We're like, holy shit, these are the best games ever created and ever will be created. And now you play those games now compared to what else is out, and like, holy shit, like this game's kind of suck.
Yeah.
Like just like they feel like very clunky and like outdated.
Honestly, it's the like not being able to sprint versus having a jetpack. Like there's no going back, you know.
Yeah, so nostalgia is like a super powerful tool that I think just is like a good like sales tactic for this whole illusion that's going on. And so then we get like our first big look at the production crew.
Yeah.
Where they're feeding Marlon lines of what to say to Truman, and he's like talking about how like if everyone's in on it, that means I have to be in on it too, which is like super hurtful because he is on it.
And
he's reading lines.
This is the first time you see how like shitty his best friend is. Like he actually says, if I'm in on it kind of thing. Like you have to be a real fucking asshole to say something like that. Like really gain his trust.
Yeah, it's like a heartbreaking scene of it. And then we see his dad. His dad shows up. I think he said like his dad shows up and then he cries. We got a new perspective of the production crew again. We had the creator of the show. I think it's the guy that played RoboCop, maybe.
Yeah,
that played Murphy. Is that the same guy?
Yeah, I think so. He was replaced last minute, and him and Jim Carrey never filmed together. They both
really.
Jim Carrey finished filming, and then this guy showed up and filmed the rest of the scenes.
That might be a good tactic to create the separation that was in the movie. So
Yeah. I doubt it was intentional, but then they were like,
which we saw him at
it probably doesn't even matter.
the beginning of the movie, but yeah. So we see him, and then we get kind of like he gets interviewed like right after this, and everyone's really pumped about this crying shot about his dad, this reunited scene, and then we get like a sense of the scale of the show, where
Like how invested people truly are.
it's literally the entire world, everyone in every country. This is basically like the only TV show that's watched. It feels like North Korea almost, where people watch this show and that's all you watch.
I'd watch a fucking
the
show
moon,
about North Korea. I'd watch.
We've seen like there's been several shots of the moon in this movie, and
we never knew
the moon is really big, and then we zoom in on the moon, and then we realize that the moon is the
headquarters.
It's like the headquarters, yeah. Which maybe the moon doesn't move, but I guess if you live in Truman world, the moon doesn't need to move, right? They could tell people like, oh, the moon is in a fixed position. And you're like, oh, obviously it is because it never fucking moved all 30 years of my life. I've never seen it move.
You just have to change physics. That's all you'd have to do.
Yeah, and then we realized like he talks about the taxes that they've used to keep him on the island, and that's the whole reason they killed his dad was to make him afraid of water. Which if the island is surrounded by water everywhere except for one little bridge, which still goes over water. It's not even a land bridge; it's like a concrete bridge. If you're afraid of water, then you're not probably getting off this island.
And they actually, that's when they created the post-traumatic stress, like an actual event that anchors him to that. Not only is nostalgia in play there, but it's fucking actual horror in play, keeping him away from the water.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, there's death of a parent.
And
to keep you
that's something
and the blame on yourself.
That's something I enjoyed a lot, how they revisited his dad's character, because the dad, a lot of people try and sneak back on set to help Truman or get their 15 minutes of fame. His dad snuck back on set not because he loved Truman, because why the fuck would you love a beautiful man like Truman? He snuck back on set because he was butthurt about being removed from the show.
And he was his pretend dad for years.
From birth.
Like 8 years. 8 years he's his pretend dad. How do you not
grow attachment?
Yeah. Pretty super fucked up levels on the show.
Yeah.
So then he talks about like he's been filmed since birth, and he says that we accept the reality of the world we're presented. That's the whole reason he doesn't. That's what the show's creator, I don't know his name.
Christoph, because he's Christ. It's spelled Christ
is it?
of. Yeah.
Is it Christoph?
Christ of. Yeah, Christoph.
So yeah, he that's his explanation for why Truman doesn't leave. And we saw like that there was someone burst out of a Christmas present at one point, and then someone skydived.
The skydiver.
They had a sign that said
"You're on
Truman,
TV."
You're on TV.
He was there to help Truman, but the other guy was there just to be on TV. He's like, "Woo! I'm on the Truman Show," and his dad was just beating the shit out of him.
So during this interview, we get Sylvia. She's on the phone and she's talking shit to Truman, and then we get a glimpse that there's an anti-Truman movement, and one of those signs is in the background that says "Truman, you're on TV."
She's talking shit to Christoph, not Truman.
Yeah, she's talking. Oh, yeah, and so there's a group of people that are not okay with this whole watching someone's entire life, and they're honestly kind of like a puppet or like a slave, or just obviously the Truman Show is a super fucked up thing. So,
well, yeah. So we're kind of getting the end here. I don't really think we're jumping around too much. It shows how they selected Truman. He was basically going to be aborted. So that's how Christoph justifies it.
Yeah, they said these were all unwanted babies.
Yeah, five children that were unwanted. So my imagination is Christoph set up camp outside of an abortion clinic, and he's like, "Hey, let me buy that baby off you. I'll pay you $100,000 or something like that." It was a project or something, and they basically did it like ancient Spartan style. Whichever baby came first, they chose. Which leads you to believe, like, what the fuck happened to those other 4 babies? Which would be a cool thing to look into. The other 4 babies that didn't become Truman.
The 4 non-Truman.
Yeah. They're probably in like another Truman world.
Probably fucking dead, dude.
Yeah, he probably killed them off. He's like, these bitches were late, dude. Blast them. And this really shows you this shows you what the show is now. They're totally breaking the barrier for the viewer, us. We're no longer in the whole Put-in-Bay, Sea Haven, Truman world. They're showing us everything on Truman show is for sale. This is Talking Truman. Christoph, tell us a little bit about today's episode.
They explain the product placements, that the revenue for the show is driven by product placement, and because it's such a big show, they can afford it. Like the ads, I guess, it's basically like every ad is like a Super Bowl ad. I think every day.
It was basically
because of
YouTube.
how big the show is.
It was like YouTube ad placement before it happened.
And you can buy anything on the show. So hey, you like that person's fucking shoes? Well, here's those shoes on the Truman Show website.
And all they have to do is call this 1-800 number to buy anything that they saw. And they
genius idea.
Yeah, and they get a kickback from it. So that explains how they were so successful.
And then we get and after this this interview, we see Truman sleeping on this like night cam, and we kind of see this like sort of like father son like child thing where he like walks up to the screen and he touches like Truman's face. Yeah, like kind of like strokes his forehead or whatever. Even though his forehead is like 50 feet, because it's on this big ass screen.
Yeah.
But it's like almost like this. Yeah, it's like he sees Truman as his son, which I guess he kind of sort of is because Truman doesn't have a father, right?
For
most of his life.
Truman's owned by the production company.
He's officially adopted by the corporation.
The first human
Truman's
adopted by a corporation, which is crazy.
And this guy's been controlling Truman's life his entire life, so. I feel like he has like compassion and like love for Truman,
but definitely not enough. He looks at him
not enough because the last act of the movie really fucking attacks that. I think
it showed everybody's human side except for Christoph.
It gets rid of the compassion that he gained for himself. And kind of like really throws it away.
Yeah.
It's honestly pretty tragic.
Well, because it shows you like, yeah, he might have cared about Truman, but he cares about Truman, the show, not about Truman, the person. He cares about the revenue. He cares about his project, not the living and breathing.
He cares about Truman, but not as much.
He actually says, they're like, you're going to kill him. And he's like, well, he was born on air. Why can't he die on air? Like, what the fuck?
Fucked up. It's fucked up as fuck.
Yeah. And welcome back to Six Pack and a Podcast. That was us just getting a little refueled. Welcome back to the disturbing life of Truman that is trapped on Put-in-Bay in Ohio.
It's fucked up as shit. He's in a nonstop party world where he can't get away from bridesmaids and groomsmen.
Oh, God.
And
honestly, I think that'd be like a lot happier than what actually happened at Truman.
He's honestly like he's kind of like living in like a retirement island. It seems.
Yeah, like a bunch of
old fucks.
So actually, now that you say that, one thing I'll get back into after everything we just talked about, seeing the actual state of the television show, how they're making their money. Lack of empathy, mild empathy. We get to Truman in his bathroom doing another scene of him talking to his mirror. And so
he's in the mirror, and at this point, he's faking it.
Mm-hmm.
He's 100% faking it, and he says a really great line, I think. He's talking to the camera, and Paul Giamatti, which we didn't acknowledge is in this movie.
Unfortunately. Shout out to Paul.
He's writing with soap on the mirror, and he's like, this is
True Mania
Truman
of Burbank.
And he's drawing like a spaceman on his mirror, and there's a behind the medicine cabinet camera capturing it. And so he puts himself like in the mirror, and he's looking at the mirror, and he says, that one's for free.
And he winks.
And then at this point, from this point forward, he's just going through the motions
Yeah.
of what they want and expect him to do.
Which
is, I thought, like, pretty genius.
Which is kind of unfortunate because at this point, me being in the Truman Show, I would have had to decide to take either the blue pill or the red pill because the creators of the show are now making it so easy on Truman. They're allowing him to sell better. He's getting way more insurance sales now. He's got a fucking hot-ass coworker that seems interested in him. Like,
yeah, it's supposed to be the new, his wife. Oh, they mentioned his wife is leaving.
Yeah, she
interview,
moved out,
and that they're gonna be introducing a new love interest, and this is her. So yeah, they got this hot ass babe, and she's like, "What's up, Truman? Like, I'm about to be working right beside you." And yeah, they're kind of they're
throwing him a bone.
I don't like maybe they're getting lazy maybe a little bit, or they just forgot too quick that he basically figured shit out, I think, before his dad showed up. And I think they accepted the tears that he gave for reuniting with his dad, which would be an incredibly emotional thing.
Even if he was,
they completely accepted that as like a real thing. Yeah. So yeah, this is like this last act of the movie is just Truman. He's
broken free.
He's running through the motions. Yeah.
He still does his good morning. If I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. He does all of his smiles, all his everything.
So they're back at the moon base. Paul Giamatti's watching them, and he's sleeping in his basement. And they said he's been sleeping here ever since his wife moved out. It's no big deal. And so
that's like the only thing we heard about her leaving too.
Yeah, we don't see her for the rest of the movie actually.
It's better that way. She's a bitch.
Kind of weird, a little bit. Obviously, like almost like an acting sort of thing, where like we only had her on set for so many days, but she doesn't show up for the rest of the film, which a bit weird. Maybe she was just freaked out for that peeler.
She was threatened. That she quit the show. I imagine.
She pulled that on him though, so let's be real.
Yeah, she started it, but he was literally breaking.
He was falling apart at that point.
Yeah.
So the Murphy from Murphy for RoboCop shows up and he's like, "Hey, what's Truman doing?" He's just sleeping around. And they're like, "Wait a second, how's long he been?" He's like, "Oh, he's been there for like 32 hours. I don't know."
definitely not
been
that.
There for a bit, yeah.
So Truman's dead now.
He's just been sleeping though, and they send in old Marlon with his classic move of showing up with a 6-pack of beer.
Still works.
Like send Marlon in. Yeah. So he busted. He's like, "Hey Truman, where you at?
Well, yeah,
I got
surprise
a
party. Let's get fucked up.
Let's get fucked up." Yeah.
That usually works.
So he shows up, and I love this move because it's a classic move, and we get a classic joke where he's in the basement and he's looking for Truman. Like, where's he at? Where's he at? And there's a map of the world. He's like, "Where's Truman?" He pops the map, and there's a closet behind it, and there's a hole in the ceiling, which this is a Shawshank Redemption joke.
Oh yeah, I wrote down he Shawshanked his way out. That's a direct Shawshank reference.
It's super awesome. I love that they tied this in. And then
because it was his own prison. He literally escaped his prison.
Yeah, which was his home though, which is so terrifying as well because he was a prison in his own home and his entire life. So like he had to escape everything. So then Marlon pops his head out the window or through the hole. Excuse me. These bears. Pops his head through the window or a hole like a goat or like gopher, and they cut the feed. And this is like the first time I imagine the Truman Show might have ever been off air.
They actually allude to that. Like some of the TV show on air for 10,000 days.
Yeah. So is this like the first time then it's ever been?
Yeah, because he says
broadcast
this is the most
signal?
The most views we've gotten since that thing through.
Yeah, with that graphic, yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, the entire jig is up, and they kind of quit trying at this point because they have the entire city looking for him, and they use the moon as like a spotlight, which I didn't know had that technology, but the moon is like a spotlight looking for Truman, and the whole like everything's gone. Like the whole it's out the window because they say at one point he asks, he's like, "What time is it?" And he's like, "Oh, like I don't know. It's like fucking like 5 a.m." He's like, "Fuck it, dude. Sun up, bitches." He's like, "We need more light to find Truman. Sun up." And like, you can't just have the sun up come in like 3 seconds. He's like, "Do it. We'll do it live."
Fuck
and
it.
The sun comes up immediately.
And that's when they threw the towel in. This was a direct.
Yeah, dude. They don't give a
giveaway.
fuck at this point.
Yeah.
They just want Truman. So the sun comes up. It's the fastest sunrise. It's faster than this fucking space station, which is traveling around the Earth, and it gets like 8 sunrises a day. The sunrise comes up in like 5 seconds. It goes from pure darkness, and then there's like this weird thing where they have everyone in first positions just in case he shows up still.
Like standing super still in their spots.
People are frozen in still where on cue for where Truman usually shows up, and then you kind of realize I think the repetition that a lot of these characters have to do. So at least some of these people are doing Monday through Friday the same shit every fucking day, right?
I like to imagine they cycle it, but some of the people have to stand in those same spots.
I mean, his coworker, which maybe he actually does sell insurance, has to be in the same cubicle. I don't know, fiddling around for 5 days a week at least minimum.
With a position like that, I imagine he is salary paid by the television show, because he's more of a main character. But like the travel agency, what the fuck are they doing there? Truman's been there once his whole life.
Yeah. What? Who else is? Good point. Yeah.
There's like only one woman there.
So he's sailing at this point because they're like search the water, and like why would he be on the water? But they've searched everywhere, and he faced his fears. He's on the water. He looks dope in his fucking sweater. I like it.
Yeah, of course. Which was kind of a triumphant end to the Truman saga. He finally faced his fears and escaped his own prison, which is basically the Shawshank Redemption ending. He had to climb through a tunnel of shit to get out. That's basically.
That is like a good comparison. I think.
Yeah, that's what he did, which would have been great for views. But this really shows that some people truly care about him as a person's well-being. But then this goes back to us talking about Kristoff. It's like, fuck him up. I don't care. Do it. And then like Paul Giamatti, everybody else is like, we can't kill him, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah, so we get this thing where we realize like they can even control the sea and the water in this fake world that they created. And Truman's tied himself to the boat, and he's like, wreck him. Eventually he'll turn back. He's not gonna go through this. Just wreck him, and like he's gonna drown. Like if we do this, like he's like, do it. Like yeah, that's what he said. He was born in the show. He could die in the show.
Which is
that's
a really cool line.
Attempted murder, and then at one point, Truman acknowledges the fakeness of the world. This is the first time he's done it, where he says, he says like, "Is that all you've got?" He's like, "I'm not turning back," or something like that. He says something along those lines.
Yeah, he starts shouting to the camera.
He breaks the fourth wall, and yeah,
because at this point he's certain, like he's 100% certain.
But the world has never gotten it. So like, there's honestly like there's no turning back or no repairing it at this point.
Yeah, and then they throw everything they got at him. Fucking capsizes.
Honestly, I think they think they kill him at one point, and the boat flips over, and it's almost like this rebirth scene. He's like crawling, he's coughing up water. I imagine like a baby does. He's like crawling like with his arms a little bit. He's like kind of like sliding around, and he like lifts himself up, and it's like this new person at this point. The sun's shining, and it's like it's a new Truman.
Yeah,
it's not the Truman of. The past 30 years are behind him now.
Yeah, this is a much more. This is a man that needs intensive therapy, Truman.
Yeah, extreme therapy and just
No trust.
you'll never have a natural life.
No
right?
trust. Yeah, that's a real horror of this movie. Once the camera's shut off and we're done with Truman, we don't really understand what's happening. But Truman is
There's a very dark story.
thoroughly fucked. And this is when
He probably commits suicide, honestly.
when I would. But he finally gets to the end and touches the wall, and there's this
He crashes into the wall.
Yeah.
He hits the edge of the world.
of his world, and he touches the wall, and he slowly touches it, and you see in his eyes he's becoming aware he's not crazy. Like he's so happy that he is within this TV show because it totally proves everything he's thought was right.
And there's this. Then we get this whole there's the voice of God coming down to him from
Christ.
From Christ /
Christoph.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
RoboCop is speaking to him from the heavens. And he's like, "Hey,
Hey, dude.
don't." He's like, "You've seen it. You can't leave. You can't quit this. Look how far we've come." And so Truman goes up these steps and he sees this. There's a black door and it's like this black void, which I think was like a really good choice with like this representation of
What lies?
what does he do from here?
Yeah.
Because he spent his entire life in a world that he knew, and he doesn't know what it could be like the year 2400 for all he.
It could be
knows.
chaos. It
You
could
know,
be Alien Run.
Yeah, he doesn't know what obviously we know now it's like the world's is very same, but it could be some sort of crazy distant future, and he wouldn't know anything better because he been raised in a 1998 sort of human lifestyle. But things can be there could be flying cars for all he knows on the other side of that.
A lot of
so it's like a huge step.
A lot of Truman's lifestyle was pre-1998. It felt like 1950s at some point. It was almost like heaven compared to what the Earth is actually. And a really cool turn of events would have been he left, and on the actual outside world, it's like dystopian, like savagery, chaos, and they used a 1950 Truman Show to keep everybody grounded, kind of thing. And he stepped out into
the whole thing with God. He says like, I created a world for Truman, and that the real world would never like accept him or something like that or care about him.
Yeah.
So it's like the very ending here. I really liked. He says, "You're on television. You're live to the whole world." And then he does his famous line.
Literal catchphrase
of the movie. He says, "In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night."
And boom, credits.
He walks into the void of darkness, and Sylvia comes after him. The world cheers, and like that's it. That's the end of the film. People said like, "What's on next?" Or
yeah,
let's watch something else.
So that's the darkest ending possible. What's up next?
Yeah, it like belittles
shows
everything that.
It shows you 30 years of this man's life was totally overridden by lack of attention. Expendable. Like what's on TV next? Like
what's that was like a dark.
That was the darkest way to end it, I feel. But so there's a fan theory that I read that Truman steps from this world into the next set. It's just like level 2. He opens that door.
That'd be fucking.
Oh shit, that would have been a crazy way to end it. There were about like 100 different ways they could have ended it. This was probably the nicest way, because if he would have stumbled into another set and had no idea, and everybody's just like, "Oh, we're so sorry, let's get you fixed up," and it's still a set. Plus, he'll never have an actual life because he's stumbling into a world where his face is a meme.
He's the most famous person ever to live.
Ever. He is a movie star. Like, no matter what happens.
Imagine how famous Tom Cruise is.
Way more famous than Tom Cruise.
He's yeah. You can't get more famous.
He's fucked. So I mean, it just shows you like even
life after Truman is not good.
It's not good. Nothing. Though he may have chose the happy route, this is not a good ending. It is not end.
It might have been honestly better if you look at it that way. It might have been better for him just live the lie.
Honestly, the best thing for Truman, I feel like death would probably be his best way. I hate to say it, but the mental baggage he's going to have from either staying or leaving is so fucking immense. I can't imagine.
He might be able to get some back pay.
Oh,
some
some
$million.
royalties, yeah. Setting up a camp.
Yeah, so he made in 1998. Say he made hey, we'll give you $10 million. Fuck, man, you can have a pretty baller life for $10 million in 1998.
It just sucks. He spent 30 years of his life as an insurance agent. Like they
selling fake insurance.
Couldn't they have given him a better? Insurance is already fake. Couldn't they have given him a better position? He was selling life insurance. Like, a lot of people don't even use that. Like, I don't know. Let him be like a tour guide or some shit. He got the worst job.
Yeah, a tour guide. A tour guide could be really repetitive too.
Yeah, I don't know.
But a tour guide actually would probably be hard for the island to keep up the jig.
Yeah, he'd have to be a tour guide
because he'd be exploring.
Yeah, his own fucking.
He'd be exploring like every end of the island. So.
Well, I think we juiced the Truman Show, dude. That was a long episode. I hope you guys are still on board. I'm down with the long episodes. When I throw on,
I hope you guys are for it.
Yeah. But
all three people listen to it.
Who's out there?
Who's out there? Are you out there?
If
your life is if you think your life is being recorded,
just
call in.
Just text
leave a voicemail
because we think the same thing. This is it.
Simulation.
This is an actual phobia, by the way. The Truman Show phobia. One guy thought the only
I've heard
way.
About that, yeah.
One dude said the only way out of his show was to climb to the top of the fucking Statue of Liberty, and his girlfriend was going to be up there, and that was his only way out. And
that's fucked up, dude. I think I listened to something on Radio Lab or something like. Or it might have been This American Life, but man, fucked up shit.
Yeah. Well, hey, life could always suck a little more. I think that's what Kodai and I are trying to get at. Do you have any sign-off notes, Cody? I think we got about almost 2 hours of content.
I think we talked about the movie about as long as the movie is long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a long movie, but I mean, I don't think we went too long at all. And if you guys do, just hit us up. I mean, we'll definitely form the podcast to what you guys think's best. All right, Cody signing off. And this is Cornelius reminding, if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
See ya.